Hi, Beatrijs. It's wonderful to see you and,
Hi, Sari.
and to continue our, I think, 3 year long conversation about supervision and who we are as supervisors and what we do as supervisors,
Yes.
which has been an absolute joy. And we were just talking about our reasons to do this. For me, we're of different generations also in TA, but also in our professions. I'm at a point where I think, oh, this is my 40th anniversary of giving training to coaches and supervisors and team coaches. And for you, it's the 7 year,
Yeah.
7 year itch of your
Yeah.
profession as
Yeah.
supervisor.
As supervisor, yes.
And it's so beautiful to meet each other in that, to polish each other in that friction of difference. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, Beatrice, you and I are going to give an EMCC senior accredited program for supervisors. It's going to
Yes.
start in June, and we're going to be giving a webinar, a free webinar on the 22nd of May from 9 to 11. So it will be published on LinkedIn and on Facebook. So please join us in our conversation. But for now, we're also recording small pieces of our casual conversations about what is supervision to us.
Yeah.
And we're talking now about focus. What do you focus on as a supervisor? And what is the focus of your interventions, really? So we've talked about Hawkins, we've talked about your relational approach, and now we're going to talk more TA specific, I think, about the behavioral approach to focus.
Yeah.
And would you like me to start, or do you want to start, or?
Yeah, can you say something more about the behavioral part of supervision to get us started?
Yeah, okay. So, the first thing you see of a supervisee is their behavior. And Eric Byrne did this experiment he describes it in The Mind in Action, where he was a psychiatrist in the army, and then he looked at the behavior and then made hypotheses about the intrapsychic and the relational. And that's actually what we do as supervisors as well. So luckily in transactional analysis, we have a lot of concepts on behavior that we can see and how to link it to the intrapsychic experience. I believe in coaching, but also certainly in supervision. We have a focus on the patterns of behavior that link to the patterns of feeling and thinking as well.
Yeah.
And I think in essence, our job as a supervisor is to look at, where are people stuck in their patterns, the supervisee and then the supervisee with their client as well.
Yeah. I really like that idea that the first 5 minutes of every supervision hold something very possibly important for the supervision question that somebody's bringing. So there's something about that first bit of getting getting started. How are you doing today? What's going on for you? And I realized that I was talking with the supervisee recently about being in nature, for example,
Hmm.
and she was talking about some trips that she had made, and I was talking about some of the exercises that I have been doing outside. And somehow in the supervision, we made use of what we were talking in that first little piece of making contact, because her behavior and my behavior were actually almost a mirror of the
Hmm.
question that she already
Oh,
held.
beautiful. It's about finding space. Huh? I couldn't
Yeah,
imagine it was about finding space.
yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I think often as supervisors or people in the helping professions, we forget those first 5 minutes. We're busy with our notebooks and our pens and our
Exactly.
how are you sitting? And I think this is really the time to pay attention. So you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. So within TA, our first port of call is really behavior and behavioral patterns. And we have a lot of concepts, behavioral concepts in TA. So I'm thinking, for instance, of functional ego states. You know, functional ego states, there's a lot of literature on that, but functional ego states and how do you transact from that? So what type of communication do you have? Not so much what people say, but how people say it.
Yeah.
It says so much about where they're at in their thinking and their feeling.
Yeah.
We look at, as a behavioral pattern, we look at stroking. So it's a specific type of transaction where we recognize ourselves or the other person. And we look at what is the economy of stroking that people are showing in those first 5 minutes. Sometimes and often I catch my supervisees or my clients talking about themselves in a bad way. And it's often in the sentence in between that they say it. Well, I was
Mm.
stupid to, and I think, oh, that's the way you talk to yourself.
Mm.
Says something about a potential risk for stuckness in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So functional ego states, transactions, strokes. We also look at the expression of emotion, how and if people express emotion. And yeah, I work in the organizational field a lot, so the expression of emotion is usually very limited. I see anger and frustration a lot, and guilt. Guilt is kind of the cross to bear for the over-responsible. So I see that a lot as emotion, but rarely, for instance, grief or
Mm.
sadness or
Mm.
joy of success and all of those behavioral expressions tell us something already about where should we be focusing in our supervision.
Yeah.
um, yeah, so that's really, and I often think if I'm a lazy supervisor, sometimes I say it's not really true, but I say it because if you can solve something at the behavioral level, then it's a much shorter intervention than if you have to do relational or psychodynamic work, which we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm reminded of one of my supervisees I had last year. That was, I already felt a longer period that she was quite fast or having that hurry up drive a behavior in which she thought with her clients in as she was a coach and with her coach clients she was always working like, come on, let's do this and let's do this. And I made her in my office here, which is quite a spacious place. I said, can you walk in the room, and can you now walk very, very slowly?
Oh, wow.
And then it was just so simple, but it was so effective because just asking her, can you walk in the space? And can you now walk very, very slowly? And her behavior and her emotions, as you were saying, in that walking very, very slowly was so impactful. And she was so touched by the realization that she rarely takes time to walk very, very slowly with somebody.
Mhm.
And that she normally thinks, well, I have 7 coach sessions or sometimes only 3 sessions, and I really have to make my worth in doing something, in getting somewhere. But
Mm.
that pausing and sitting and actually what we are doing a lot with each other, she and me as supervisee and supervisor, is pacing and feeling? What's going on now for you when we really slow down and when we zoom in to that specific moment? What do you feel then? And what does it mean to you that you felt that way?
Yeah,
So I'm just
beautiful,
reminded of that.
beautiful. Yeah, I'm also thinking about one of my supervisees who, what came back time after time was um, the a feeling of not being seen by
Ah,
people.
yeah.
And it came back in you can say in the functional ego state, you have adapted child. There was a lot of transactions from that position. And at a certain moment, I said, well, if you want to be seen, you have to let people know you. So, what do you actually tell other people about what's going on for you? And she said, I never tell people what's
Oh my
going on for me.
goodness.
And that's such a. It seems so simple, but
Yes.
I think, as a supervisor, to pay attention where people are repeating their patterns in daily life through the way they behave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could almost call it a script mechanism. How do you set up a situation in which you validate your story? And often it starts with behavior. And
Yeah.
so, I'm saying as a supervisor, it's really, really important to pay attention to those first 5 minutes and to really use concepts which help you recognize the patterns of behavior where it might be important to interrupt them.
Yeah. And I really like how you connect. It's not just the behavior, but it's what do you experience when you have this behavior that you, I don't know, maybe it's a super glass that you put on
Yeah.
and that you make somebody think, ah, this is what I am doing, or this is how I behave because I am feeling this and this, or because my thoughts are this and this. So it's really the connection in the behavior with the feeling and the thinking.
Yes. So, step number one, really in the focus for me.
Yeah.
And we will continue our conversation about the psychodynamic level.
Yes.
So, I'll see you then.